Hello, this is MSP, and today we're going to learn how to make big profits trading stocks or options using the $1,000,000 trading formula with MSP trading algorithms for day and swing traders, beginners to pros. Okay, the first thing you need to know is what is volatility, because this will be a strategy based on trading volatility measurements using MSP Algo, stock market implied volatility gauge. Okay, so volatility is defined as a measure of the variation in the price of an asset over time. Higher volatility is naturally associated with greater potential for larger losses. So in essence, it's a way that they measure risk or risk management. So you could do volatility based on that, or volatility based on price movement of a stock is another way. So to gauge how much on average that stock move, it may move $2 a year or $20 a year, It just depends. But the key here is volatility normally comes in when the price of the stock is moving rapidly, okay? So we could see that the price of the stock here is moving rapidly down. So it's moving down, and then all of a sudden it's moving rapidly up, and then it's moving rapidly down. So it just really means that it's not trending and it's making big swings. So we could see that the stock made a big swing down about $20, and then a big swing up about $20, okay? So it's like whiplash. Okay, so what we're going to do is we have another strategy that we're going to trade utilizing, called MSP Algo Stock Market Implied Volatility Gauge Log. Now we've created a video on this, so if you want in-depth information on exactly what volatility is and about this application, you could go to our other video that talks about how to make big money with implied volatility. Okay, so this is part 2 of that series, and now we were just dealing with the volatility of the stock market as a whole, but in this scenario we'll be discussing our new algo, which is also analyzing the volatility of the stock individually. Okay, instead of one was analyzing the stock market as a whole. So you could see here on the MSP Algo Market Health, MSP Algo Stock Market Implied Volatility Gauge, know when to buy or sell options before taking a trade or stocks, and it just updates you on the daily. So this one is for the entire stock market, okay? Now we could search by symbol for the stocks that we follow. So we could search in the daily only, the intraday as well, and what I'll do is I'll show you the intraday quickly. So I must just say, give me Apple, and select intraday, and select an open, say the 16th, and let's see, we should see information about that stock starting from market open, about what it's thinking the future price action of the stock will do based on an algorithm. Okay, specifically for Apple or whatever stock you select, SPY, Baba, Amazon, Google, whatever. Okay, so we could see, and it's telling us information on the anticipated price action. So really for the 16th, there was really one alert after market open. If we just change the time and say, I just want to follow after the market open, or give me a little bit of information before the market open, and we could see that for the intraday time frame, Apple only had one alert that came out. Okay, so we could see that we have the symbol, the price, start date time, end date time, MSP Algo IV change, time frame is a 10-minute, intraday is a 10 minutes. It's analyzing 10 minutes of data every 10 minutes. The type of alert, and it gives you the description and the anticipated price action. Okay, and we'll go into that further. Then you could just say, give me the daily only, and we could see that time frame was 10 minutes. So let's see what the daily alert had for the 16th, and we could see there was no alert. Okay, and we save the alerts every day, whether there was an alert or not, and we could look and see there was not an alert. It was not applicable for the daily time frame, but it was applicable for the intraday. Or we could just say, give me everything. Okay. So you could select other symbols. And this case is Amazon. So here goes some data for Amazon. So we could see after the market opened, Amazon had a few alerts here. So this is saying it's a touch and go. It thinks that price needs to retest support. Okay. All right. So let's go into learning about these new alerts that are specific for the stock. We know we have the gauge applicable for the entire market, and we have the gauge that's specific for a stock. So you should always be trading a stock that is in sync, if there's an alert for it, in sync with the main alerts. So if this alert, if it didn't have any alerts, then that means that there's not a lot of volatility, and but if it, so it's probably going to be bullish, or chopping sideways, whereas if we had something that said drop, it'll give the description, then most likely it'll be bearish. Okay, so you want to be in sync. So if this is bearish, you want to look at, you want to try to keep your stock trading in sync with the main gauge. And the reason is because you have a higher probability trade. Now, higher probability, what does that mean? It means that you'll have a higher percentage of a chance to be successful with your trade. Okay? Now, I really haven't had a chance to back test this. I did look at some, so we'll kind of be back testing and looking at this together. Okay, so I got a range of, so I'm looking at BABA, and I have it, the stock symbol, BABA. I have a filter of the daily, and I'm looking at pretty much August and a little bit of the end of July and mid September. So here go all my alerts that I got for BABA, and you could see sometimes we get alerts, sometimes we don't. Now, the advantage of this information is that it helps you eliminate trading price action going sideways. Okay, so if this thing is just chopping along, let's say, you won't have to worry about trading that day. Your objective is to look for alerts to take a trade that day. Using this $1 million formula, you ensure that you're getting a nice move without the excessive chop and ranging, and you're not going to have to spend a lot of time watching the market every day and be trapped in sideways price action, because volatility also means momentum. Okay, all right, so let's look at an alert. So we know we have a symbol, the price at the time, what time the alert got triggered, 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. So we know this is a daily, whatever the algo say, the changes, which is just there for people that's analytical, because that is read for you. And the time frame, we did a daily search, and this is pretty much generic. So we could see on the 29th we didn't have an alert, but we got an alert on the 30th, and it says increased volatility, options premium increased, and we're going to remove these two columns here because it's just really in the way and it's not really that helpful. So as a trader, you could go to the condensed version by clicking on the condensed version to hide the generic information, because we just want to be able to trade it and know exactly what we need to do when MSP Algo, IV gauge, say that there is some volatility. So it's going to try to predict what it is. So we see this alert, so it was triggered after the market closed. So the market has to close. So that daily candle was created. And we're analyzing the internals. Okay. So it says huge candle coming, spike, support, retest. Okay. And then it gives the anticipated price action. Like a rocket alert, touch and go. Support, retest. So we know it's saying it's going to retest support. Retest the lows of the current candle that occurred this day. So this is 7:30, so it's saying we should retest the lows of 730. That's all it's saying, okay? If it hold, it could rock it. The touch part is touching support. Do or die. If it pass, rock it back to resistance, okay? So you know exactly what price points need to be retested, okay? All right, so it says basically short the rip, then buy the dip. If price is near resistance, it's just short the rip next day. So if price open up and you see it near resistance and you know it got to test support, then you know it's a short, right? And if it's near, if price open up near support, you have to see if that support level could hold, because it can bounce, okay? So let's look at, but generally this is what's going to happen. It's going to retest support. So that's what these alerts mean, and we could see we had 3 consecutively in a row. So one on 730, one on 731, and one on 81. And prices at 175, then it went to 172, and then it went to 165. So what we're seeing is that price retested these support levels and failed. So let's look at the chart, because that way we could get a visual representation of price action. So we could see the date is the 29th, and we didn't have an alert there, so we had one on the 30th. So we know that if the alert came out on the 30th, the market was closed. So we know that this is when the market opened, right? And we know that it's short the rip. But in this particular scenario, price didn't open up near resistance. So we know it's retesting support for that day. And we could look and see support was 175.35 or the low, okay? And we can see that the next day, because this is the date the alert came out, because this is the daily time frame, and this is the candle. So we know what's going on. We have all the information we need, and we already know how to make a trading decision. So as the previous day, the low was 175.35. We know that's going to get retested, and price opened up. It looked like it bounced to 175.71. It couldn't hold that support level. Short. Okay. You also have other trading signals, but I'm just going to show you how the stock market gauge work, and then I may open up one and show you that later. But I want you to stay focused on these alerts, but you always good to use the money flow sequential. So let's go and open that up for 730. We're going to select BABA, because this is what we actually trade with. This is just telling us the implied volatility, right? So now we want to see what the money's doing, okay? So that was on 7:30. The alert came out, so we know that you got to look at the next day, because the market's closed when the alert came out. All right. And we're going to look at, let's just look at an hourly time frame. And we're going to say, give me 9 o'clock, a little bit before the market open, to 1600. When you're using an hourly, you want to have when you're using an hourly, you normally want to go 0 to 0, 9 o'clock to 1600. That way you have even hours. Or if I was using an hourly, I'd probably go with an 8 o'clock. That way I could have one time frame before that open. So on that day, I could see that we did a video on money flow in out sequential view. So what I did was the day before, on the 30th, let's blow this up a little bit so it's nice and big. The day before, on the 30th, the market was closed. So now I'm looking at the 31st, and I know what, and we know what we're expecting a retest. So we know that means price gonna pull back, right? So for the description of all the columns in detailed fashion, please see the other video on how to trade the money flow sequential view. But high level, this is the trend, the price, day change, some algorithms, monitoring price action, what's going on, and this is what MSP Algo would have done between this time of 8 to 9. It's saying there's a bear flow, and it's in sync with what that alert we got yesterday, right? Even though the market's not open yet. And it's saying that it's detecting chop type distribution, and it thinks price gonna pop the retest resistance and then pull back to support. Okay. And then we got the other algo chatter box, and it's saying price gonna break out, and it's saying the best trade. This means what it think the best trade is, because sometimes price may be in the middle of support and resistance. Sometimes price may be bouncing. It's gonna say what it think the best trade is. So it doesn't matter if it's bullish or bearish. It may think the best trades is short, even though price is running to the moon. Okay. So if you wanna, it's just a guide. If you're more on a pro level, you can make your own decisions. But here in this particular scenario, it's in sync with our alert. So that's how you would know what to do. Okay. And it looked like it got a little choppy, and it kept trying to retest, and then it poked back, right? Now, what's the advantage that we have? The advantage that we have is that we know that price is, if it feels support, it's a short, and it stays short, right? Until something tells us to get out of this trade, or you could just do a day trade. So we could see price really didn't do much. But then the next day, another alert came out and said the same thing. So that means price need to retest the prior day's support again. And if it failed, it's a short. So if you got out, you know that resistance is about 175, okay? So we'll go in and move that over and go back to And it says the same thing. So we could see that we got into this trade or this short trade just based on looking at this hypothetically near that 175. The next day we see it's saying the same thing, and then the next day we see it said the same thing. So meaning it needs to retest support. Okay, if it pass, rock it. If it does not, drop. So and then I believe so this is so we kind of short. We had a warning on the 29th, so on this day, so that was a short from 175 to 162. You see what I'm saying? When there's no alert, it means nothing's going on. It's going sideways, or it can be bouncing too. But most likely it's not doing much, okay? So the next time we had an alert, and so we didn't have any more alerts. The next time we had an alert was the 12th of August. So let's look at the 12th of August and see what that looks like. Okay, so we got another alert, and it looks like it was choppy here, so we didn't get an alert. So let's see what this alert says. Slingshot coming. Blow this up. Slingshot coming, fueling the tank in process for the trip. So it says what's currently going on right now is price is, it says dropping to support to pop. So that means that we're gonna, this is on the 12th, so let's see what happened on the 13th. Okay, so we know that price was dropping, is what it was saying, and it's dropping to support to pop. Okay, sometimes you get that alert and it is in an uptrend and it'll drop. So in this particular scenario, it's, so this day is when you looked at your alert. Okay, so it's telling us to look for normally you're looking for some sort of pivot. Okay, see if and you could go to money flow sequential view. Let's go and look at that day, and that was the 12th of August. We're going to stay with our hourly here. Like I said, this is just giving you information on possible momentum opportunities. And you still need to look and see what the money's doing, right? So that's all I'm using, right? I'm using two things. Obviously, I mean, I may look at other things as well. But in this particular scenario, it's tradable just to have this information. Okay? On these two pages. Okay. So we need to go to the day after the alert came out. because the market was closed. So these alerts, the daily alerts come out after market close. So it's for the next day, more for a swing trader. Whereas the intraday alerts come out intraday, they're smaller moves, but they're for a day trader, okay? So, we know that price is near money. It's pretty much what that's saying. Price was dropping, but buying gonna start happening, and this thing gapped up, right? So we need to try to find entry into this. Look at something. And sure, I got that right. I do. So we had two alerts back to back. So they're saying Slingshot. Okay, so normally Slingshot means a nice move is coming, like a rocket type move, okay? All right, so what happened? So we decided we was going to get in, and we saw that this is the intraday version. Another thing I could have done is just go to the daily version, okay? So I'll go back a little bit in time. This is the swing traders time frame, and you could gauge what was going on from a swing trader's perspective. So we know that we had our search criteria in this particular scenario was July 29th. So we have the same thing here, and we could see price was dropping. So we could also use this as trading signals, okay? So it was saying short the rip, short the rip. It thought it was the best trade. Short the rip, short the rip. Okay? So that alert so we'll look a little before and a little after this time frame. So it looked like it was still bearish. Look, we see some money going in near the 159. The internal flow. Okay. So MSP Algo was still short, and then it said get out of your position, right? It exit this position. So on the 16th, it actually said it was a long. That's why it's important to look at this, because we saw what was going on. Even though the market looked a little choppy and a little bearish here, so that's what the chart would have looked like. It's always good to see what the chart would have looked like. So we know we got an alert here and we got an alert here, and it's saying support is okay. So let's say we got into this trade and it gapped up. Oh, that's the next thing I want to talk about. This will detect those gaps, but it's a gap down or a gap up. I did notice that, and you notice this was a gap up, and look at where this trade came. So you're not going to be in these trades for long. Let's say, you know, the low of this candle was 150.60. You got in about 161, 162. Because the big boys was euphoric and went and pulled back to support. And you saw money going in. So you got in this day, okay? And price went from your buy at 161 to 171. So that was a $10 jump. What? Yes, a $10 jump. What's the title of this? How to make big profits trading stocks using the $1 million trading formula with MSP Trading Algo, applicable for day and swing traders alike. Okay, let's look at one more. Let's look at one more. Let's look at everyone's let's look at a Netflix. Let's look at Tesla. I think I did Netflix in my last video. Let's look at Tesla, because this is a really volatile stock. Can MSP Algo corral it? I don't know. I didn't do any research on it. I hope so. So let's go to Tesla. Alright, so let's look for some alerts. Let's delete all the drawing tools. Said a Fibonacci extension, so it's easy to trace price action. This stock looks like it was in chop land, right? Really choppy, meaning it seems like it's going sideways more than up or down. Let's see if MSP Algo implied volatility gauge can help us make money in chop. So this is a great example. Okay, so we have an alert here, and it says Slingshot coming, fueling the tank in process for the chip. So we did see that alert. So it says dropping to support to pop. So if we see that it is not near support, it's a short, right, the next day. So price is at 241. Let's see what happened on the 31st of July. Go to our handy dandy go-to calendar. So we know this is the daily time frame. So that means that the alert came out here. So we got information that we're supposed to short this stock, okay? It's dropping to support, and we could see it's near resistance in this particular scenario. All right? Always use your money flow sequential to validate. I'm not going to do it with this in this particular instance. Okay, so we got a short. Okay, price is at about 244. So we took that short. You could swing trade or you can day trade. Okay. If you're day trading, you're looking to short the rips. Okay. If you're swing trading, you're looking for more volatility or informational on your swing trading console. All right. Now, so that worked right away. And the stock dropped to 233, almost a $10 drop. And the rest of the time, you wasn't even worried about the stock. Why trade chop? Imagine how much time you can save. I know me, myself, and I could look at this alert, look at the alerts for my particular stock that I like to trade. And if I see I don't need to trade that day, I could go bass fishing. I could go for a picnic with my dogs to the park or the greenway. I can help a shelter. You see what I'm saying? So that alone is worth zillions to have time for you. Okay? All right. So, and then we got another alert on the 1st, and it says huge candle coming. So we know that means spike or support retest. We know if support hold, it's going to rocket, and if it don't, it's going to drop like a rock. Okay? So we know what the dilemma is for this particular stock. It's going to retest support. If it hold, it's going to try to break out above resistance. If it fail, it's a short. We know the whole move. Okay? I don't know how this works, but and why, but it seems like what I've done is I just try to analyze what the collective of traders do normally based on cause and effect. Okay? All right. So we got one on the 1st, so we know we're going to look at the 2nd. So this 31st, there goes the 2nd, and it's saying price is going to retest support. And if it hold, it's gonna bounce. Okay? And here I see a new pivot, so I really don't want to short yet. Okay? So it did bounce. So it bounced from 225 to 241, right back to that 244-ish area. And so on, and so on, and so on. All right. So that's how you use MSP Algo stock market implied volatility gauge. To make big profits using the $1 million trading formula. Eventually we're going to start doing a little bit of trading on YouTube Live. So please subscribe if you enjoyed the video, like, and until the next video, have a blessed day.